Hello everybody, my name is Cora Sharkey and I'm here with my sister Julia Sharkey to talk about
your rhetorical criticism of the show Sister Wives.
That might be unavoidable. I am so sorry.
Mr. Business also criticizes the show Sister Wives.
He loves having his own voice. Specifically, my criticism of Cody Brown's choice of vehicles in the show. So, first of all, I want to ask you, Julia, what you know about Sister Wives.
It is an fundamentalist LDS family living in Utah. I believe Cody, over the course of the show, has varied in his number of wives, but is essentially a polygamist with multiple wives and God knows how many children. I could not even tell you the number of children, but I'm going to say a lot.
Not as many as the Duggars, surprisingly.
Wow. Okay, I guess, yeah. 18 is like a lot. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen clips of the show, but I have never watched it in its entirety, nor a full season, or maybe even a full episode. But I love internet drama, so I know a little bit about it from that.
So, do you know anything about the specific wives?
I know that there's an OG wife, obviously his first wife, and is the one that he's legally married to. And then I think there's is there 3 more?
Yes.
So there's a total of 4.
There's a total of 4. And
each one gets progressively younger as he marries them, and
a little.
Okay. And they, yeah, that's what I know about the wives. I'm assuming there's a lot of interesting relational drama between the wives.
Yes, a lot.
So that makes for some juicy reality television.
Sometimes. Surprisingly boring.
Whoever is producing this show, whoever thought of it.
So, Cody Brown is the husband, obviously, and then his first wife, Mary Brown, his second wife, Janelle Brown, his third wife, Christine Brown, and his fourth wife, Robin Brown. So a little backstory, he married Mary when she was 19 and he was 20. And then he got married to Janelle, I think when he was 22 and Janelle was 20, and Christine when he was 23, and Christine was 19 or 20, very young. He was not raised in polygamy. Mary and Christine were both raised in polygamy, but him and Janelle were not. Cody went on his mission for the Mormon church and came back and felt convicted to start.
So he wasn't raised in polygamy, but he was raised in the LDS church?
Yes, very devoutly. He'd been a lifelong Mormon, so were his parents. Christine was raised polygamist. Christine's maiden name is actually Allred, which is a pretty big, they're heavy hitters in fundamentalist polygamy. She got married to Cody very quickly, and she always knew that she wanted to be the third wife and the last wife. Christine, her explanation is that she never wanted to be the only wife, which is really interesting, because her mom is not the first wife, so she does not remember a time in their family where it was just her and her dad. She's never expressed interest in being the only wife. She didn't want to be the second wife because she felt like the second wife would upset the balance of the first marriage and they would have to work out how to actually be a polygamous couple. And by the time the third wife came in, that should all be smoothed out. And she should just be able to exist as she wants to as a polygamist woman.
I think that makes sense in theory. The first 2 will figure it out. But if the first 2 figure it out, it's 50-50. So if you still throw a third person in there, it's still going to upset the balance, especially if they had done all that work beforehand to figure out the dynamic, and now you have a third person coming in and upsetting the entire thing.
So in the first season, he only has 3 wives, and Christine was clear the whole time, I want to be the last wife. And then, kind of without consulting the rest of the family, Mary and Cody introduce Robin.
Mary and Cody introduced Robin. Mary is the first wife.
Yeah.
And so they didn't tell the second and third wife, but the first wife was involved in this decision making.
She claims that she chose her. She saw her at a Mormon event and said, you should approach her.
That I won't swear on your class podcast, but that is effing creepy.
You could see why Christine would be upset by that. You could see why Janelle would be upset by that.
I could also see Mary lying about it too, though. Like claiming she has more authority and more ownership in the situation than she maybe thought previously.
A lot of speculation is that, there are 13 original kids before Robin, and between Janelle and Christine, there are 12. They each have 6 kids. Mary only had 1 child. She has like unexplained fertility problems. She was never able to have.
Wow, that could be a subject for a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
OMG.
Especially the pressures.
I was gonna say, because the religion puts immense pressure on the number of children that a woman carries. Literally affects your place in heaven, how many children you have.
Yes, and Janelle was the first to get pregnant, and she had 2 or 3 sons right off the bat. So I'm sure Mary was feeling all sorts of ways. I mean, she got to be the only wife for a while. For any woman, I feel like even if you're raised in this would be an extremely hard adjustment. And there was just a lot of turmoil between her and Janelle especially. Cody, Mary, and Janelle all had outside jobs. And Christine, I think, worked evening shifts for a while, but she was like the caretaker. So Janelle and Christine kind of seemed to get along better. And a lot of speculation is like Mary felt like she didn't have a wife that was a friend and wanted to pick one that would be.
Yep. If you have 4, now it can be 2 on 2.
Yeah. Yes.
Better zone defense.
Right? You're not getting tagged either.
Yeah.
But anyway, Robin brings her 3 kids into the family. She has 2 more with him, so in total there's 18 now. And so in the first season we have 16. What kind of car do you think Cody drives?
Well, as a person who has grown up with a lot of LDS boys around here, and judging off what I know about this man who decided to become a polygamist after he went on his mission, I'm gonna assume he has the douchiest car you can imagine. Nope, Cora's professor, that is my academic prediction here, douchey. That is quote unquote douchey.
Yeah. So the first season of Sister Wives aired in 2010. So my best guess is that this car, it is a Lexus SC. I am just guessing that it's a 2007, but from what I can tell, that seems like it's the most accurate. And yeah, it's a 2-door. It does have a back seat. It's like an extended cab, but that means there's not a ton of trunk space. And they live in Utah, which is not warm all year round. And I don't think convertibles have like all-wheel drive for the snow. So guess what cars his wives drive?
Huge ass minivans.
Yeah.
Or like REV 4-wheel drive SUVs.
They drive secondhand, third-hand vans, Suburbans that are like falling apart. If we were to talk specifically about, so like think back to 2010. Let me show you a picture of this.
I graduated high school in 2010. I have very vivid memories of that year, unfortunately.
If I showed you this car, what like assumptions would you make about the person driving it?
Ugh, okay, I immediately think Michael Scott Sebring, The Office, honestly, when I view that car. I'm like, a man who is trying to come off cool but doesn't have real taste. That's what I think of that car. Like, wants people to think they're wealthy and interesting, but maybe doesn't actually know that much about cars or have, like, a real motivation to buy that specific car. They just think it looks cool. It's a company car.
Kind of is his company car because he worked for...
that's what it looks like? I thought it would honestly look a little cooler than that. Yikes, okay, Corey, you can't cut this. It's douchey. And that is my professional opinion, is that car looks douchey.
You would also assume that the person driving this car probably does not live in a place with, like, harsh weather.
Oh, no. God, no. Utah is a pain in the ass to drive in. And I don't even live in Utah.
Has like bad winters.
Bad winters, the roads suck. You'd think that they would be better with the terrible winters they have? No. Nope, they're terrible. Yeah.
And you would also assume, what would you assume about, like, the family would look like of the person driving this convertible?
If the windows were as tinted as they are in that picture, which I'm assuming they are, I'm picturing a middle-aged man with a terrible haircut and a girlfriend, blonde, tall, gorgeous. She looks like she smells good. Personality of a snail.
That is...
I have a really specific picture in my head. I would pick a douchey middle-aged man going through a midlife crisis, dating a girl that's way too hot for him, but hasn't realized that she deserves better yet. That's what I picture when I see that car. And It's hilarious to me that it's actually a polygamist with 4 wives and 18 children.
You wouldn't see that and go like, what a nice family
That's
man.
a family man.
Would
No,
you?
that strikes me as, that man doesn't talk to his children. When I look at that man's children hate him. That's what... Every one of his kids has daddy issues.
When he goes by and the windows are down, he's playing Nickelback.
Oh, God. Yep. Yeah. Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh.
But the whole, like, premise of the show, the whole reason they decided to do it, or at least what they say, is to prove that you can live a healthy, godly lifestyle with multiple wives.
That was their original goal?
Yeah.
Because I feel like they've accomplished the opposite.
They definitely.
Where everyone is like, wow, this family dynamic is so unhealthy, so abusive. No, this is a better reason why polygamy should be illegal.
They were trying to show that this lifestyle works and everybody was happy in it. And it might just be, like, tough sometimes. Which I don't feel, and clearly neither do you, is how it turned out. But his whole purpose for, like, accepting this place on the show was to be like, I'm the family man. Not only can I do it for 1 wife, I can do it for 4 wives. I can take care of all of my children.
He can't even do it for 1 wife.
Well, he, like, pretty much solely lives with Robin now. I don't know what she would say about that.
Still, obviously not driving her kids around.
True. But it's so, like, at odds with this car he has, even when they don't have, like, TLC money coming in, which is very interesting that he can't let go of this. I feel like it's, like, a symbol of his youth. Like, he doesn't want to be the guy with really 13 children.
That's how he comes off on the show, too, is kind of, like, immature surfer boy.
Yeah.
Honestly.
He wants to be the cool, hip, young dad. He doesn't want to have the responsibility or the time constraint, especially, of 13 children. Well, 18 children now. When the family goes places, Mary only has 1 child, right? But she also drives a huge, beat-up Suburban and has many children in her car. They all take separate cars, including Cody. He either goes by himself or he'll take one of the eldest children.
But that also, he can leave whenever he wants to.
Yep.
He can show up when he wants to. The car means freedom for him.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's so small is that it means freedom for Cody only. Not like multiple kids or anything like that. It's freedom for Cody.
Yes. And it excuses him from a lot of things. It excuses him. So in the first season, they were attending a private polygamous school. But still, you know, they have 13 children, at least 8 or 9 of them have to go to school every day. So how are you going to take 8 to 9 children in your convertible? Like, it excuses him from dropping kids off.
A trailer on the back.
That is not OSHA approved. OSHA.
OSHA! You need a transportation department.
Yeah. It excuses him from picking them up. It excuses him from ferrying them to parties, to sports, to extracurriculars, from pretty much anything. He can just say, I don't have space, go ask your mom.
He doesn't have to perform any of the labor of fatherhood except existing.
Right.
This was an experiment in traumatizing your family. That's what this show was. It was not to show the world that polygamy can be successful. It was to, hey, watch me traumatize my entire family for, 13 seasons?
18.
18 seasons! Oh my God. I always forget how many godforsaken seasons there are on that
That's why I
show.
said it's only interesting sometimes.
Oh my God. Wow.
But it is really tragic, and his vehicle reflects that. Like, so 2010, what would you say that this car would cost?
You showed me a picture of it.
Yeah.
So maybe... I don't know that much about cars, but I think Lexus is kind of nice. So like between 70 and 90 maybe?
You're really close. In the Kelly Blue Book, it had a starting sticker price of $66,000.
Okay.
It is a little debated because, like I said, there is evidence that he was in this multi-level marketing company called Level. I could not find any concrete answer on how to say it. But if he reaches a certain level in the company, they will provide a car bonus, but they are purposely really obscure about it, so I couldn't find the level. Like some companies like Mary Kay, once you get the car bonus, it has to be a pink Cadillac. I never saw anything about that, like a specific one, but I could not find a lot other than that there is a car bonus. But when that happens, you have to sign for the lease, and then you just get like a bonus to your paycheck of the money that the car bonus is. It could be like $400. But still, this is not a car that you would consider family friendly, and at the end of the day, you're still paying for the lease. And if you don't make
the lease, the insurance, the
the
upkeep, the
yeah.
gas, like this
Yeah.
this is not a car where you spend a bunch of money once and then you get to enjoy a cool car. Like
Yes.
this thing has absurd costs throughout the life of the vehicle.
Yes. And if you don't meet the sales quota for your car bonus, you don't get it just after like 1 month. So this is like pretty risky. And of all of the times we on the show for the first 3 seasons, around season 4 is when they started making more money. Never once did it show his car broken down, but all the time the wives' cars were breaking down. So not only is he not caring for his wives, he's not caring about the upkeep of their car, which, like, for me and you, raised in the way that we were, it might be like the upkeep of your car is your responsibility. But these are Mormon women raised to be homemakers.
But also, like, what else is his job?
Yeah.
If he, like, what are you here for, Cody? Like, if you're not freaking driving him to school, if you're not feeding him, if you're not doing any fatherhood, then, like, what's left is that you're a provider. And
You're not
what the
providing.
hell are you providing?
Yeah.
Where's the money? Where's the financial stability? Like, where is that stuff? It sounds like Cody is spending his money on himself and then calling himself a financial provider.
Yeah. And on top of that, he couldn't even bring in enough money to support the whole family before the show. The other 2 wives were working, and they were receiving state assistance. Like,
These are our tax dollars, people. They're supporting this family
I
and this
think-
man's car.
hungry people should be fed. But if you're talking about how polygamy is totally possible,
It's not possible if you are relying on the state to feed your children. That is by definition not feasible.
they are a little bit different than other polygamous families, though. Most cohabitate in the same house. After they leave Lehigh Valley, they never cohabitate again. And Robin has never lived in the same house as any of the other wives.
So Mary originally said she picked out Robin to be her butt buddy. Are they butt buddies? Or does that backfire on Mary?
It really backfires.
I could see that coming a mile away, Mary.
Already off the bat, I told you about how Cody was treating Robin. It's obviously different than how he's treating
Which
the
is
other
why
wives.
I would originally pick to be the last wife in this scenario. I knew
But-
how it would go.
You might get a surprise wife 10 years down the road.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So they moved to Las Vegas, actually, and they can't, they want to build there, but they can't do that for a while. The whole premise is they're fleeing Utah because the state is going to prosecute them. There was never any evidence for that. So they move down to Las Vegas and they have to rent for a while before they can find a place to build. And Mary, I think, lives like 7 miles away. Christine, Janelle, and Robin live a little bit closer. But they're still in this rotation, so every evening Cody is driving between houses. He has a new convertible at this point. I don't think he's working for this marketing company anymore, so this is obviously something he either leased or bought himself. I could not find a lot of information on that car, but throughout the seasons, he has consistently had a sport car. Mm-hmm. Again, so Cody is now driving between houses, hopefully daily. It's a little,
theoretically daily?
Yes, it's a little unclear, like, how much that actually happened. But, once again, he has this sport car that he spends his evenings driving in. You know, it seems... I feel like for how much a polygamous man would have to, like, cart things around, like your clothes, your toiletries, but it just shows that his image is more important than his convenience, than his duty, than his responsibility.
I mean, it's also an incredibly convenient excuse. I can't take the kids to school because my vehicle will not fit them. I cannot carry around the kids' soccer equipment because there is no room in my trunk. I literally, it's not because I don't want to do these things for you. It's because I can't do these things for you because my vehicle is stopping me. Not my own decision making and my own, like, terrible aptitude as a husband or a human being. It's because of my car.
It's like weaponized incompetence, right?
Yep.
So now we're going to jump ahead to season 18. There's only a few kids still living at home. Robin still has her youngest children at home with Cody. Janelle has one daughter left. Christine has a daughter left. But at this point, Christine has moved back to Utah. She has left the family and moved back. Now that the show is a huge hit, it's been going on for 18 seasons. They have all these side avenues of bringing money in. There's a lot more freedom and choice in what to drive, right? But he still has 3 kids at home with Robin. What kind of cars do you think he drives?
Oh, okay. So he's updated his car, 3 kids at home, but Robin is the wife. I think that might change the dynamic a little bit. I think he's willing to do a little more for Robin because he's always had a different relationship with her, I think, than the other wives. Something still dumb AF, but maybe fits 1 kid. That's my best guess. Like, slightly better, still terrible.
So at this point in time, he has 3 vehicles, and he still has a sports car. It's a convertible. It's a brand new Lexus LC. They have moved to Flagstaff, Arizona at this point. So, I mean, the temperature is a little more moderate. I wouldn't say winters get particularly bad there, but he still calls it his, like, summertime car. What would you say the sticker price on this is? The best guess that I have is that it's a 2020 model based on the time of the season airing.
So a 2020 convertible Lexus.
Yeah.
I'm going to say between 100 to 110.
Once again, really close. The sticker price I found for it, brand new, was $93,970.
Yeah, and that's like the base model.
Yeah.
Like the base model of my car, the Kelly Blue Book, is way cheaper than what my car actually costs because of the audio and the different upgrades and stuff like that. So,
right.
And he strikes me as a man who would buy the bells and whistles.
Yes.
Because to him it's an image thing.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't buy the base model. That gives you a poor image.
No.
You want the fancy luxury model. Truly, he gives off, like, you know how, like, when rappers come into money and they're immediately like, I'm gonna buy a cool car and I'm gonna buy some cool jewelry, and I don't have any like true financial acumen here. I just want people to think that I'm rich, and like these are the things that I think cool rich people buy is a car and a cute necklace.
Yeah, exactly. It's like something that you think a wealthy person would buy, not like a tailor-made suit that you can't even tell is $10,000.
Or a really like, I mean, I'm sure his watch is nice and stuff, but yeah, like it's like
it's very flashy.
Faux grandeur.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably do a whole nother rhetorical analysis of the way he dresses. So he also does, you know, they live in Flagstaff now. They bought acreage that they intended to build 4 separate houses on. And he even, like, gunned for a 5th house to be his, like, man cave.
Oh my.
That never happened.
Oh my God. I'm not like surprised by that in any way whatsoever. Oh.
That never happens. But they do still have this acreage out there. So this last Christmas, he bought all of Robin's children, I think, 4 mini bikes. You know, like those, they're not dirt bikes.
Because you don't have to parent a kid if they're dead.
Robin was like not pleased.
Yeah, those things are literally death traps. I'm not even
really
a parent.
fun,
Yeah, I'm sure they're incredibly fun.
But you would say that he would, at this point, need maybe like something that could tow, right? And for a winter, Janelle was living in a trailer on Coyote Pass, this acreage that they bought to try and convince the family, like, we need to pay off this land and buy here and build here. Because they bought it through the owner, not through the bank. So the land has to be fully paid off before they can zone and build it. That never happens. But at this point, Janelle needs somebody to tow this trailer that she bought to live in out there. So, like, what kind of pickup would you say Cody has?
Oh, it's some dumbass Rivian or something like that. Something that is, like, looks cool. It looks like it could, like, carry a big load, and maybe can, but also anyone who, like, knows anything about, like, trucks and actually hauling would be like, that's the dumbest decision I've ever heard, because too much upkeep, doesn't actually haul what you want it to. Like, he seems like a man who buys things because he enjoys the way they look and the way that they make him come off as a big man, not because he actually knows anything about hauling or that vehicle in any way. Hence the god-awful hideous Lexus. Like, bro, if you had 110 to spend on a car and that's the hideous thing you pick, like, I do not have a lot of faith in your, like, vehicle buying decisions.
So just for some context, me and my sister are from rural Idaho. We're very familiar with camping and hillbillies, and we own horses and
trucks, hauling.
Yep, we've pulled our fair share of horse trailers. You know, these are things that
we are familiar with. This culture of large trucks, but also, like, vanity trucks as well. There's lots of people in the area who do not haul or do anything outdoors, but also like vanity trucks. And in this area of Idaho, it's easy to tell who has a vanity truck and who has a work truck.
Usually by, like, also if it has a lift kit and, like, how clean it is.
Yeah, and also, like, how much is it lifted?
So he actually does have 2 pickups. One is a Ford Super Duty, but he got that one from his late brother.
Okay, so he got it from someone who didn't know what they were buying.
Yeah, that one's, like, sentimental. He bought it. You know, his brother's widow offered it to him. He just bought it. So I don't really want to, like, touch on that one too much. But before that, he bought a 3/4 ton Nissan Titan Pro.
A Nissan Titan. I don't even need you to go on. I know it's.
I didn't know Nissan made pickups.
Yeah, because no one in their right mind buys it. Like, the smaller, like, Nissans are really good, like, small trucks. Like, not bad at all.
Yeah, like a 1/2 ton.
Yeah,
pretty handy.
I have never known anyone that, like, works on a ranch or a farm or that does, like, any type of heavy lifting that had a Super Duty, like, Nissan like that. No, never.
Yeah.
Never in a million years.
If you had to, like, hazard a guess, what would you say the horsepower is?
what do they say the horsepower is or what it actually is? 300?
390. For context, Dad's Ford is a 3/4 ton, and it has 520.
The green one or the red one?
The green one. I don't know how much the red one has.
The green one has 520 and that
Yeah.
Nissan has 390.
Yeah.
That truck, what year is it? It's like a 1999 for listener context. It
Yeah.
is. It is.
I think it's a
very.
97.
It's a really like it's a good truck, but it's old.
Yeah, it's very old. And as Dad did point out, a lot of these trucks' pulling power does come from their torque, but this pickup, especially with the lift kit, does not have a lot of torque.
Yeah, every time you lift a truck, you are getting rid of some of the torque. Like, how do you think a truck pulls something so heavy when it is so separated from its own wheels? Like, that is like those dumb videos you see where someone guns it and then the wheels keep going and the body of the truck stays behind.
Yeah.
That is what is going to happen to this man if he tries to pull anything with a lifted Nissan Titan.
So its towing poundage limit is probably near 8,000, which for a pickup this size is not a lot. That's like a light camper. That's like a camper that maybe has one slide out, but like probably not. It could haul the mini bikes, sure. It's referred to as a sport truck. It should be good theoretically for off-roading, things like that. But, like, once again, he buys something that is supposed to have purpose to the family, because Janelle has this trailer that she needs pulled. He's talking about wanting to do these things more, and once again, he buys something that looks like it could do it, but, like, can't actually do it. Kind of like the man.
I was about to say, like Cody himself. He looks like he could... receipts say nah.
This is like not very unbiased of me, but I could cite all 18 seasons of his failings to meet the standard that his family needs him to meet. I mean, 3 of his wives have left him at this point. Obviously, their needs are not being met.
This man's vehicles is a metaphor for himself.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the point of this paper. So Janelle buys this camper. It's 2020. It's the pandemic. And there were like no campers back then. I don't know if you remember, but there were almost none. Well, she tells Cody, like, I had to buy it sight unseen. It was the only way I was going to get this camper. Can you pull it with your truck? And he says, no. I'm not going to do that. And she says, okay, well, can you just loan me your truck and I'll pull it? Because maybe he doesn't want to say, like, I don't know how to pull a trailer that big. And he says, no, this is not a soccer mom truck.
What kind of a truck is it, Cody?
It is a soccer mom
like,
truck.
what? Okay, so if you're not using it to pull anything, then he's literally outing himself right now. This truck is not for any purpose. This truck is to make me look cool. That is what he's telling his wife right now.
So Janelle says, you know what, I'll buy my own pickup. Because I think she sees at this point, like, this is how he's going to be about the trailer always. So she's like, I need my own pickup. I think at this point she realizes every time that she needs to do something on this trailer, she's going to have to ask him for his pickup. And he is clearly disinterested in actually helping her with this stuff. So she gets her own pickup.
Good for her.
The next episode, they meet at Mary's house. And Robin pulls up separately, driving the pickup. I just had to throw that in there. Like, it's part of this double standard that he has for his family. Janelle can't have it because it's not a soccer mom. Janelle has one 17-year-old daughter at home.
I know this is going to be, like, no crap, Watson, but, like, no wonder he has no wives left.
I tell myself that every episode.
No wonder, man. Like, no sane person can just, like, keep dealing with these punches and these abuses and just this complete disregard. Like, this woman literally cannot do anything with her camper unless she has a way to transport it.
Yeah, and he has a way to transport it that he is
Not
keeping
letting,
away from her for no apparent reason.
But the other wives can use it.
Yeah. The nanny uses it. Robin has a nanny, by the way.
What? Yep, this is why I want to be Robin. I called it so right in the beginning.
You want to be married to that man?
I don't want to be married to that man, but if I had to be any of these wives, I'd want to be Robin. Because I would at least get to drive the freaking truck.
Right. So at its base, just like all of his other cars, this is a status symbol. It's like, look at me, this like incompetent thing that you look at and you know is expensive belongs to me. But it can't, like, what can it really do? You know?
But what is it for? What are you for, Cody?
I asked Mom if I showed her a picture of his pickup, and I said, like, what would you say if you saw this pickup? And she said, it's probably double parked.
Yep. You could, like, show that picture, just do a general poll in Idaho.
It's probably
like,
double parked.
Yeah, what do you think of this truck? Like, they would say some out-of-state Yahoo moved here to look cool, because everyone in their right mind would see that truck and be like, that's not a local.
Right?
Yeah, and then either double parked, has truck nuts, or is getting pulled over because they have like colored lights on the bottom, which is absolutely illegal, or too dark tinted windows.
Or like a light bar that they're blinding people with.
Like, how does anyone think this guy is cool? Ah!
But even at this point, when they no longer have supposedly financial insecurity, these are the choices he makes with his vehicles. They are still not useful to the family, even though he has the power to control that now. I'm sure Robin also drives a really nice Suburban.
I don't think that has ever been a requirement for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever even considered it. I don't think that he factors that in any way whatsoever when he purchases these vehicles, and no matter the financial assets of the family, he will continue to purchase vehicles like this.
Yeah. So despite his reasons for coming on the show being, I'm the family man, I can do it all, I can have this huge family and it is godly, his priorities have never been in that order. His priority has always been about perception, which, in all fairness, I feel like to agree to be on a reality TV show, that would have to be your priority. Mm-hmm. But it's like tragic.
Well, if you wanted the world to be more like pro-polygamy, you certainly would not advertise it.
Yeah.
So I think you are absolutely right. It's literally always been about perception for him. And I don't need to know anything about him, even though I do, other than his vehicles and his family dynamic, to know that he's a first-class narcissist.
You see a polygamous man with 18 children who drives a convertible, and you immediately wonder where his priorities are at.
Yup.
In the end, Cody has consistently and continuously valued his image over his duties to the family. Wrapping up, if I saw somebody driving those pickups in my neighborhood, I would immediately assume that he's going to break the noise ordinance.
Okay, if I saw someone driving in that truck around my neighborhood, I would think that he had kids by 4 different women, but it wouldn't be polygamy. So, well, even when they're young, obviously he's not doing anything to be a father to them if his vehicle literally stops him from doing so. I'll bet you a car seat has never graced the seats of his car.
It's so, like, unchild friendly. Mm-hmm. It is just really interesting to me, not only in the aspect of how he dresses, what he wears, his choice of a side hustle. All of it is deeply unsuited for a family environment. Like, this sport pickup is just a sport pickup. Sure, you live in Flagstaff.
Which even theoretically it could pull the camper in, yet he won't do it anyway, so.
Exactly. I mean, it would have been one thing if he said, I've never pulled a camper that big.
But I'll try.
He kept calling it an RV, and I kept being like...
How many feet long is it?
It's a big camper, but an RV has its own engine and stuff. Yeah. I think it's a fifth wheel. Which the Ford Super Duty could pull that. You probably wouldn't want to do it all the time, put a lot of wear and tear on the truck.
He probably doesn't actually know how to tow anything, is too scared to ask. Because it would come off as unmanly.
This big trailer isn't even a gooseneck trailer, though. Like, that tells you
That's what I'm calling, is that he just doesn't know how to pull it and doesn't want to admit that.
And he doesn't want Janelle to be better at driving the pickup than him. That's exactly what it is.
She can't drive it because she'll turn out to be better at it than him.
Yeah. The whole show is an eternal competition. It's a competition for his affection. It's a competition for his attention. He is the bachelor, the grand prize in this, and he wants them all to supplicate themselves before him and beg for his. And they said, after 30 years, they said, no, thank you.
It only took him long enough to give the rose back. Be like, nah, never mind.
It is just fascinating. I guess I have never been a man, so...
Thank God. Same. Sounds exhausting.
I mean, you drove a Ford Taurus in high school. Like, I feel like cars and pickups have never been important to our own self-image. I don't understand why you would need somebody on the highway to be like, that's a big pickup. Because when I say big pickups, I'm like, he's compensating.
It shows how you communicate your self-worth. And that's where he puts his self-worth.
Yeah, not in his family.
Yeah, not in his family thinking he's a good father. Not in his children loving him. Not in his wives thinking he's a good partner. That's not where he gets his self-worth. He gets his self-worth from randos on the street or around town thinking he has a cool car.
Yeah.
That's where he gets his self-worth.
And it's like one thing to have a preference in a vehicle. I mean, our father has always preferred pickups, but they were never like pickups that the whole family couldn't.
They were also never pickups purely for aesthetic purposes.
Yeah.
They had reasons.
Yeah.
We needed to haul or pull things, and they have been used until they cannot run anymore.
And used beyond that.
And rebuilt and used again, and rebuilt and used again.
Imagine your dad's convertible being more important to him than your college application.
So many nights growing up, I would have nightmares about wrecking
the pickup.
Dad's truck. So many. But it wasn't because he tied his self-worth to his vehicle. That is not why. It's because it was an incredibly important tool around our ranch.
Yeah. And
losing the pickup truck and losing my, Dad obviously cared a lot about it and took good care of it and used it a lot, was extremely anxiety inducing that I would take away this important tool for my family.
Well, and our parents were teachers. They did not have TLC money to throw at a new pickup. That would have been devastating.
If I was in Cody's family having nightmares about crashing his convertible, those nightmares would be around wow, my dad is gonna freak the F out on me because I'm ruining his self-image.
Yeah. All I have to say about that is yikes.
Yikes. Yep.
His presentation of what his goals were for being on the show were at odds with the things that he spent his money on, the things that he spent his time on, and the things that he obviously prioritized. And a lot of that was his vehicles. And it was clearly a point of stress because when they would go on these road trips, and inevitably one of the wives' Suburbans would break down, he would just lose it. We don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
It sucks. Well, thank you all for listening to my rhetorical criticism. It got a little off track. There are some pretty long stretches.
There are a lot of things to criticize
Yes,
here.
it was really supposed to be about his vehicles, but it's a little hard to explain why it is so incorrigible of him to keep choosing these vehicles without the context.
Yeah, I mean, I think his vehicles encompass a much wider issue.
Yeah, which is... His image has always been more important than his 22-person family.
Yep. So, Godspeed to you, Cody. You need therapy, man.